This is what 50 Cent was talking about. And basically, after all the people from all the years, they couldn't wait no more to get the justice. They knew that the NDAs ran out and that it was their time to come forward and speak about this. Like P. Diddy, he couldn't run from or hide from any of the stuff that was coming out about him, man. This is why 50 Cent talked to all the victims. He made sure that he's gonna get justice for every single person that's been affected by P. Diddy and anything from Bad Boys at all, because we need the justice for Tupac, Kim Porter, Heavy D, all of those who've been affected, man. If you guys are rocking with any of them, go ahead and comment, put the 222s, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, because now it's actually like on the hot seat for P. Diddy right now. The feds, they're not playing around, man. They coming to get everybody from the situation. They knew what was going down at them parties. They knew what Cassie was talking about. The fact that all of the ex-girlfriends of P. Diddy, they might end up testifying against him because they need people to actually speak on his character and everything like that. He knows for a fact at the end of the day, he's not actually in good standings with any of his baby mamas or any of his previous ex-girlfriends or other people that he been in relationship with, because all of them ended up turning out bad, man. This is why nobody rocks with P. Diddy no more, because they know at the end of the day, he was using them and he was snaking people out, man, just to get higher and higher on the totem pole. This is why at the end of the day, you can't trust nobody. The celebrities, that whole lifestyle, like, you got to stay on the straight and narrow path, because Diddy, he actually got changed by a lot of the stuff. He turned into the person that he said he was never gonna be, and Tupac was trying to tell a lot of people to be careful with like actually handling and dealing with this type of people, man. And at the end of the day, this is what Mike Tyson, Suge Knight was trying to let everybody know of, the fact that once they walked into them rooms, they turned around and left ASAP, because they knew that Diddy was doing something, man. This is why a lot of people, like, they were scared to actually go against Diddy, because they thought he had so much power and control and the connections that he had with Bad Boys. Like, he was their boss at that time and they didn't want to get fired. He was doing Sean John, he was doing all of the things with Ciroc. They thought that he was gonna be a billionaire, and so they didn't want to go against that, because they thought that they would lose all of the money, all of the wealth, and that he would keep all the actual like masters and everything like that. This is why Mace and all the other people from Bad Boys, they actually get into it with P. Diddy now, because over all of the music, the catalog and everything like that, Diddy was trying to keep all of that. That's why he was so quick to have all these people sign to him. He was finessing them, thinking that, okay, they'd be famous, but he would keep the money and everything like that. That's why a lot of people, they had to check and like dot their I's and cross their T's when they looked at all the paperwork. Gene Deal was trying to tell people that he overheard a lot of the tough conversations in the back room, saying that, nah, y'all already signed this, so P. Diddy gets 100% of it, man.
Y'all gotta understand, man, for the last 30 years, they've been trying to solve this thing. They had Greg Kading on the case. He was talking to Keefe the whole time. Keefe didn't know he was being recorded when he gave that statement to them, thinking that he was going to get immunity, when whole time he was getting tricked and everything like that. They knew what they was doing, but Keefe didn't know what he was doing when he said that. That's why he got caught back up. If they would have just left Tupac alone, all this would have went away. But y'all got to understand, man, they tried to put this on a lot of people. You got to remember, Suge Knight was saying everybody was a different person every single time he spoke out. TMZ got the exclusive interview. They worked with Vlad to bring everything together so that the fans could take down the people who did this. One thing you got to understand is that when the Vlad interview came out, everybody watched it. They seen what happened. It was 5 years ago when Keefe came out. He wrote that book, and that's basically what sealed his fate, man. When he wrote that book, he didn't even write that book. He said what he said, but he had somebody else write the book, so that if the fans did come, he would be like, I actually didn't write the book. I had somebody write it for me. But all in all, when he went onto the Vlad interviews and Vlad pulled the book out and he said, so you said this in the book, that's true, right? And he said, yes. When he said that, it basically pierced the whole entire veil of everything that was behind the curtain of what they was keeping and sweeping under the rug. Because one thing you got to understand was that it was a house of cards waiting to crumble down about the Tupac information. He had it in the book. All they had to do was get him to agree to go on an interview. And as the time went by, all the hip-hop dudes, they always like to get the clout off of being on the Vlad interviews. And so this is where they took the fact that they knew Keefe wanted to be a street legend and everything. He wanted to be known for doing this. He wanted to take the credit for Tupac, basically. This is why he wrote the book. He did the interviews. He did all of that. When the interviewer, the investigator, actually dropped He came to tell Keefe D that he was writing his own book and making his own movie. That was so that they could trick Keefe D into making his own version of the statements, so that way they could get him to make the statements again, but this time without the agreement that it's not going to be used against him. They pulled the ultimate move on him, and it took 27 years to play out, man. This was a game of chess, not checkers. What y'all got to understand is basically that they set him up the whole time to make him go against his own word, man. And so the fact that they made him jealous, that they thought that all the people who was, the feds who was investigating the Tupac, since he thought they was making their own books and movies about it, he thought that the whole case was getting thrown out or closed, or that if they do it, then what stops him from doing it and getting his money out of it. When Vlad asked him about, okay, what about the Fed that interviewed you, Greg Caden, and then he went and made his own book about it. When Keefe D replied to that, he said that it was because he got mad and that he felt like that he was robbing him for his Tupac story. So that's when he made his own book with the testimonies in there and everything. Had a dude write it, then all they had to do was bring him on Vlad, bring him on Art of the Dialogue, bring him on that cable TV show in '98 when he was talking about it over and over and over again. Because y'all got to realize, when Suge paid $60,000 to Orlando to get him to testify and say that he wasn't kicking him inside the MGM casino, that he slipped and his leg accidentally bumped him, but he was trying to help him up. This way that Suge didn't go down for a probation violation, but it ended up to where he gave the 60 bands to Keefe D and Orlando. This is what Keefe D said in the Vlad interview. And then what happened is that the beef between Suge and everybody on that side kind of went away and kind of calmed down for a little bit, because the word got around town that he paid the money to 60 bands to settle the whole thing, but Suge still ended up getting locked up. So they thought because Suge was locked up and that the dudes that was actually in the Cadillac and everything like that started falling one by one. Orlando gets hit up, the other dude get hit up, the driver get hit up. All that's left is Keefe D. The last thing is that once Diddy's homeboy Zip, once he get out the picture, this is when everybody started making the moves with Keefe D about getting the book together, getting the interviews set up and everything like that. This is when the feds made it look like they retired, but whole time they retired from one department to go work for another one and everything like that. They was working from home trying to do this a whole entire Tupac case, because they never actually stopped investigating the Tupac case. This is why it still came around now. If they actually stopped, they would have never came out and came with a new indictment on Keefe D and the two mystery people that's still left in this whole entire thing. They saying that Diddy, Snoop Dogg, Gene Deal knows everything they did. They trying to get Mike Tyson to come on the stand, and you got to remember Mike Tyson got his own entire beef and altercation with Keefe D. And so now that they got Keefe D and everything, and remember, Keefe D sent a warning message to Mike Tyson telling him that you're not going to be able to go toe to toe 5 seconds with him, because the whole thing is going to end up to where it's going to be a whole nother tragic situation. One thing y'all got to understand is that there's so many people caught up in this entire thing. And then now that they looking at the dudes in New York, Diddy, they looking at his homeboy, the dude who wrote the check, Aaliyah's manager, the guys who started the whole record label to pay off the $1 million hit from Tupac. They try to actually hide the money and do all of these things. Is one of the most craziest actual chain of events that happened, because not only did they try to plan to set up Tupac, they hit him up, then they try to get away. They hit the car. They actually took the car and repainted it white. It was a rental car and they turned it in. And Keefe D said in his interview out of his own mouth that the only reason he was actually being looked at was because they was trying to get the OGs that could actually buy the rental car for him and finance the things and get the actual scrap that they used, the stick and the blicky that they used and everything like that.